Tai Tuivasa versus Sergei Pavlovich takes place this weekend in the people's co-main event of UFC Fight Night Orlando Thompson versus Holland, and I can't wait for this heavyweight matchup. In fact, I take it back. I can wait, and I would rather have waited, in all honesty. I easily could have waited for this fight. This fight is way too soon after Tai Tuivasa took all that damage against Cyril Gane just 3 months ago. He needed to take a bit of time off, and this is the wrong move for his career. I want Tai Tuivasa to succeed as a UFC heavyweight. I'd much rather see him win this fight than Sergei Pavlovich. I have no emotional connection to Sergei Pavlovich as a fighter. I really want to see Tai Tuivasa win. I root for him every single time. He's a great personality, and it would be, honestly, for lack of better words, it would be hilarious to see him as the heavyweight champion of the UFC, and I'd love to see him scrap off against Francis Ngannou and just throw down in the center of the octagon and see who wins. This is the incorrect move, so I take back saying that I can't wait. I say it at the start of every prediction video, but in this one, it's one of the rare cases where I take it back. I don't mean it. I could have waited because I'll be honest, after I watched Tai Tuivasa take all that damage against Cyril Gane, and I'm going to find out when it was, okay? It was on the 3rd of September. It's now the 4th of December. So it was 3 months ago. When I saw on the 3rd of September Tai Tuivasa take all that damage against Cyril Gane, I said to myself, he might not be able to come back in February for the Australia card. That's what I said. You know what? He took so much damage. That February card in Australia might be a little bit too soon of a comeback for him. It's only 5 months away. I think he needs about 6 months off. And he's already back. This isn't an old man who needs to rush his career in the heavyweight division. Him and Tom Aspinall are the young guys on the block. They are. He's 29 years of age. 29 as a heavyweight. Their primes are usually around 35, 36. And here we are, 3 months after he took all that damage against Cyril Gane, back in for another scrap. And not just another scrap. If he was fighting Volkov, it might be a bit different. I'd still consider the damage that he took. But it'd be a bit different because Volkov's not a massive power puncher. And he's probably going to try and pick at Tai Tuivasa at range with kicks and ranged punches, and then start maybe looking for a finish afterwards. It's not like he's fighting a pure grappler. That would be a different scenario as well. He's fighting after taking all of that concussive damage against Cyril Gane and being TKO'd. Basically KO'd brutally in the 3rd round, regardless of however he knocked down Cyril Gane in the 2nd. He still took all that damage. And he's fighting one of the most horrific power punchers in the heavyweight division right now. This is the new power puncher on the block. Okay? This is the guy who, I mean, people give Tai Tuivasa credit for finishing Derek Lewis and putting him away in their fight. But he did that whilst losing the 1st round to Derek Lewis, not doing too good at the start of the 2nd round, and then sort of mounting a bit of a comeback where he got the better of Derek Lewis as the fight went on. Sergei Pavlovich took under a minute to finish off Derek Lewis. And I know people are going to say, but the stoppage. If the referee didn't jump in, Pavlovich is putting his hand on Derek Lewis's back, and Derek Lewis is not popping up like that. And Pavlovich is just going to shovel shots into his face until the referee does step in. Like, this is the new guy. You know what I mean? This is the new guy. And Tai Tuivasa ain't a great style matchup to deal with him. He could win. He actually does have a really good chance of winning. But I think he's put himself at such a disadvantage with the ulterior factors that come into play around taking this fight. If he took this fight in February in Australia, I'd feel a lot better about it for him. I really would. But 3 months after that Cyril Gane fight, it's not like he just got pieced up by Cyril Gane. His legs got busted up in that fight by Cyril Gane's kicks. His body got busted up in that fight by Cyril Gane as well. He got kicked in the head a bunch of times. Finished off with punches afterwards. Non-stop shots to the head throughout the fight as well. Nose was busted. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. Like, he took so much damage. There's a picture of him after the fight was over, of him talking into a camera about how okay he is, and he has shades on, and you can see his nose is messed up, and he's just sort of drunk and high and trying to get over the fact that he lost in Paris, I think he was, just chilling around, and he was at Disneyland, and you can see him, like, limping around and stuff. Like, I don't know who his management team are, but I don't know who authorized saying, right, you've taken a month to barely recover to where you're now feeling okay. Let's start a training camp for one of the next biggest powerful hitters in the heavyweight division. I've got Sergei Pavlovich getting a first round KO. I do. And I think something that a lot of people don't consider about Sergei Pavlovich, he's new to the big leagues. And he's going to be improving now. And his activity is way better than Tuivasa's activity. Way better than Tuivasa's activity. And I know you could say, well, you know, Pavlovich only KO'd Derek Lewis because it was like a short time after Tai Tuivasa KO'd Derek Lewis. Well, guess what? Tuivasa's doing the same thing Derek Lewis just did. So are we going to be saying, well, Pavlovich only KO'd Tai Tuivasa because it was after Cyril Gane just KO'd Tai Tuivasa? Because Derek Lewis, that was the weakest his chin has ever looked against Sergei Pavlovich. And maybe you could say it's just the power of Sergei Pavlovich that made his chin look that bad. But maybe you could also look at the same narrative here that I'm using for the Tai Tuivasa prediction video here. He fought Tai Tuivasa in February, came back 4 months later, 4.5 months later, to fight Sergei Pavlovich and lost again. That's why I picked Pavlovich to beat him by first round TKO. I'm using the same thing here. This is too soon of a turnaround for him. These heavyweights need to realize when to take a bit of time. Cyril Gane ain't fighting anytime soon. He won the Tuivasa fight. And he's thinking, you know what? You know, I bet you he got offered a replacement fight other than Curtis Blades to fight John Jones or something like that. But he's saying, you know what? I'll take some time. Maybe I'll come back some point, you know, second quarter of next year. Who knows? I've got time to improve. Tuivasa. Wrong move, man. Wrong move. I feel like he's got a problem on his hands here. And I'm not just talking about a 9-inch reach advantage on the feet either. That's not even what I'm talking about here. It's not just the 9-inch reach advantage that Pavlovich has over him when they're both swinging hooks at each other. And that's why Pavlovich finished Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis tried swinging with him, so Pavlovich, literally, you can go back and watch the fight, sat out of range and his hooks were landing and Lewis's were falling short. That's the danger that you run into when you're fighting a guy like Pavlovich. You've got to be an Alexander Volkov. But they probably won't fight each other because they've trained together before. You've got to be an Aspinall who can try and take him down, or a Curtis Blades who can try and take him down, or an Ngannou who can just bolt forward like a spaz and finish him that way. Or a Cyril Gane who can play the outside game with kicks first and then start working his way onto the inside. I don't think you can be a scrappy brawler with Pavlovich. Because he's a tank. He's got a massive head. He's got a good chin. And since taking a short notice bout against Alistair Overeem in his debut, he's looked fantastic at heavyweight. He really has. He got finished by Alistair Overeem. He was doing all right, then he got taken down, and it was just all over from there. He didn't really know what he was doing on his back, and Overeem just exposed him on the ground pretty much. And then you've got flatlines Marcelo Golm, finishes him in the first round within a minute, finishes Maurice Green within 2 minutes, steps in there again. No fights in 2021. A couple fights got cancelled for him. Finishes Shamil Abdurakhimov in 4 minutes. Derek Lewis in 55 seconds. Great momentum for him right now. Great confidence. Yeah, get me back in there before the end of the year. I'll fight another top-ranked guy. 30 years old. New to the big leagues. Going to be improving. Tuivasa's had a lot of damage. Pavlovich has had one TKO where he just couldn't really move from off of his back because he didn't have the ability to escape the position. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. He's taller, rangier. Now, Tuivasa has got a good chance of winning, so maybe I'll speak to some of the things that Tuivasa can do well. Pavlovich jabs a lot on his lead leg, and he steps forward very heavy on the lead leg when he jabs. I should have said he doesn't jab a lot from the lead leg. That's a kick. Either way. He jabs a lot. He likes to double jab coming forward as well. He's a boxer. And a lot of people didn't know this about him because they hadn't done their research on him. I saw Dan Hardy. I always mention Dan Hardy when I bring up Sergei Pavlovich because it was a true example of like just seeing someone's name and assuming what their style was. He saw like Sergei Pavlovich and he said, I don't see him being able to take down Derek Lewis. And I was thinking to myself watching before I made my prediction video, what the fuck is he talking about? He ain't going to be shooting takedowns. He's going to be trying to lay out Derek Lewis out cold in the first round with his boxing. And that's what he did. He's got slick boxing. He don't throw many kicks. He jabs a lot and he steps in on his lead foot with his jab, which is good, but with Tai Tuivasa with those calf kicks, that can be a problem. You know what I mean? Because Tuivasa does have those big old Samoan, and there is a Samoan factor to his shins, and that is a big deal. You know, you've got that Samoan bone density. I don't know why that's a thing, but, you know, inbreed and stuff like that, like you're going to have a bit of a physical attribute in one way or the other. Dagestanis have the grip strength. Samoans have dense shins. Seems to be how it goes. Dense shins and chins is the Samoan factor there. But I'm looking at fights like against Augusto Sakai where first round weren't all that impressive for Tai Tuivasa. And that was only last year in December. You know what I mean? Weren't all that impressive. Then I'm looking at fights against Greg Hardy and I'm thinking, right, Greg Hardy, inexperienced, low fight IQ, let's be real. Really inexperienced compared to Pavlovich and bad technically in terms of boxing compared to Sergei Pavlovich. He was able to just land that nuke of a punch on Tuivasa early in the first round. And then he rushed in and got KO'd. Pavlovich ain't going to rush in. And he's got the distance and range to not have to rush in. To where he can still pick his shots following up from a safe distance because of a 9-inch reach advantage. How many more times do I have to reference that? I feel like he's going to land something big on Tuivasa. They're going to get scrappy. He's going to be patient. Walking Tuivasa down against a cage, sticking the jab on him. Tuivasa's going to try kicking at him. A couple will land, a couple will miss. And he'll step in and land another big shot and put down Tuivasa in the first round. I hate it. We could have just had Tuivasa versus anyone in February. Pavlovich could have fought a different guy at heavyweight. He could have. Just fight someone else. We got options at heavyweight. Forget the friendship. Fight Alexander Volkov at heavyweight, you know? Like, these fights could have been made. I mean, Derek Lewis pulled out of a Sergei Spivak fight. They could have just done Pavlovich Spivak on this card, you know? But why did we need this? This could be a main event of its own fight night. It's just too rushed. And this is the kind of thing that I'm going to think about in a year's time, thinking, man, what if Tuivasa just took a little bit of time off? He showed such good potential. I see him getting jabbed up on that nose, trying to swing heavy. But I really do see him getting stumbled by that straight right of Sergei Pavlovich. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. We'll see how it goes, though. I guess we'll see how it goes. It's just there's not much in the favour of Tuivasa here. He has got a solid chance of winning. His calf kicks can work because of how heavy Pavlovich is sometimes on his lead leg. Maybe I'll be thinking back and maybe after this, if Tuivasa wins by first round KO and doesn't take any damage, we'll be saying, oh my God, thank God for him taking this fight. He can now turn around for the Australia card in February and get back in there again, and this might be the best move ever. But I doubt that. I doubt that I'm going to be saying that. I feel like I'm going to be on the opposite side of things saying, what if he took a bit of time off and actually made the sensible choice of his career? Because no one would have objected to, just on the Australia card. It's already got a bunch of big fights. Tuivasa versus Tybura. You know? Tuivasa, shimmies down a spot to number 5 because of inactivity a little bit. And we do number 5 versus number 10. Both guys coming off losses. Tuivasa versus Tybura. Tybura's a bit older. Hasn't really been able to out-grapple too many people as his career's gone on. Tuivasa might be safe in the takedown defense. And I reckon he would be able to finish Tybura on the feet with punches. That would be a much better matchup for him. What a silly move. Oh well. There we go. I'm going to go Pavlovich first round TKO. Straight right hand. Things get hasty. Tuivasa swinging back. Pavlovich avoiding shots. Taking a few shots. Maybe takes a calf kick or two. Puts his jab back out there. Pressuring Tuivasa back against the cage. And then finds that right hand again after his jab lands. Puts down Tuivasa and finishes him off by TKO. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Pavlovich TKO. Bye.